we think of something refreshing. Jehovah in Psalm 110, verse 3 at the end, also finds a specific group of people very, very refreshing. He uses that phrase, dewdrops, and it's our young ones, our single ones. And we don't want to take them for granted. We don't want to forget the key role that they play in this family. So they deserve also to be known. So why don't we invite at this moment some of our dear brothers and sisters who we'd like to get to know better. Go ahead. You guys can smile. It's gonna be okay. There you go. There you go. You'll get dessert, I promise. Okay, so we have here Sister Reeves, Brother Nelson, Savannah Ulala. No, that's not the last name, right? Savannah, what's your last name again? Mac, Savannah, Mac, and Chapa. All right, so Sister Reeves, what does your assignment consist of?
I work in food service, so my assignment varies depending on the day and where there's help needed. So sometimes I work in the kitchen, and we're following recipes and having to cook for different waves. So we have, we sent food out to Beaumont, so food goes out as early as 10, 10:45, and 12 at the DRC. I also work in prep sometimes, so we're cutting pounds and pounds and pounds of vegetables in different ways so that they're ready for the recipes, so that whoever the cook is the next day can go in and grab their ingredients and they're ready to go. A different aspect of my assignment that I was able to experience this year compared to last year in Wilmington was working with Martha on documents. So the work never ended, the paperwork never stops coming, but it was super enjoyable. Seeing that other end helps to really clue into the paperwork side, and she really does have one of the hardest jobs, but she does a great job with it, and it's really important. I got to see that side of it. It helps us to really use our funds in the best and most accurate way possible.
Thank you, Sister Reeves. Nathan, what about you?
Oh, I've worked in the construction side in this disaster, so day to day, the tasks can change, the case can change on where I'm working. This disaster was mainly just smaller drywall patches, repairs, painting, some trim work or carpentry. One thing that was a little bit unique on this disaster versus some others that I've worked on is just the scope of work on some of the cases were a little bit smaller. So we were able to talk more to the homeowners, like Sister Loretta, that was just here. I worked on her case for just a day, and I didn't have a clue how much things that she went through, but I just had a little glimpse. But to get to know some of these cases, what they went through, the reliance that they had on Jehovah is pretty awesome to get just a little glimpse of that, just still working in construction.
Thank you. Sister Mac.
I as well work in the food service, so I have a variety of assignments from helping prep the food for the kitchen, which is chopping pounds and pounds and pounds of vegetables and meats and such, and as well as helping to send out the foods to the different locations, as well as dishes, shut down after the day of work, which involves wash, rinse, and sanitizing all surfaces, taking the mats out, sweeping, mopping, etc. like that. And also, I was personal paparazzi for the kitchen crew, so that involved photo documentation of each and every process. It was involved in each menu, from the start of the chopping of the vegetables all the way to the finished product when it was plated, as well as different things like organization and different stuff like that.
Thank you, Savannah. Brother Chapa, what about you?
I have also in the kitchen. I come in early with Josh, and Melissa, Jonathan, and Amber, and then a few other local ones that come in early to set the kitchen, get everything ready for the cooks. So when they get there, everything runs smoothly. So getting things set up, turning on the ovens, filling up the sinks, getting ready to wash, taking the ingredients out to package the suppers. And then I work in the barbershop for the brothers, cutting their hair.
Brother Chapa, what time do you have to get up in order to accomplish all this? And what time do you have to be working by?
We usually get there around 6 o'clock in the morning, so I wake up a little bit before 5, just so I can start reading a little bit of the Bible and a little bit of personal study, and then get there like around 6. So we start a little bit earlier. So by 8, things are already ready to go.
Wow, thank you for reminding us the important things. Very good. Excellent. Sister Reeves, what adjustments have you had to make in order to be able to volunteer for this project?
Well, back home, I'm privileged to have 2 jobs that allow me to be flexible in my schedule and to come here on short notice. So that was one thing that, you know, the finances take a little hit, you know, from leaving work. So that was an adjustment. And then also, I'm the oldest of 3, and my other siblings are younger than me. So there's some things that I took care of at home that I had to arrange to keep getting taken care of while I'm not there. But my family's been really supportive of me being here. So there's also been things that have happened while I've been gone that I haven't been able to be a part of. When I left home, my grandfather was still in the hospital. And since then, he's been able to come home safely. My family's also moved from an apartment to a home while I've been here, so they moved my stuff for me. So there's been a lot of changes while I've been here, but they've been super supportive of me being here.
Thank you. Nathan?
It's a similar comment. It kind of boils down to what it really means to rely on Jehovah and trusting in Him. It's taken some time to really examine my expenses. My financial situation went from having what could be considered a stable job and decent money to not knowing when my next job would come in and making a lot less. But by really learning how to trust in Jehovah, re-examine my expenses so that I could actually be available on a short notice, it's taken a lot of learning to really trust in Jehovah, and it's taken some work.
Thank you, Nathan. Savannah?
Well, for me, I've been used to going out in service like practically every day. And so with this project, it went down to maybe once or twice a week. And for me, for the past 8 years, that has the only thing that I thought was important is sacred service. But over the past couple years, Jehovah's helped me to adjust my thinking and realize that this is a very valuable, very important form of sacred service, and I absolutely love it.
Thank you. Great job.
What was the question again?
The question is, how many pounds of beef does it take? What adjustments have you had to make in order to volunteer for this project?
Okay, so yeah, thanks for the reminder. I'm not from too far away, about 2 hours south of here in Victoria, but being away from home and helping my parents, and disaster relief is amazing. So it's not to me that big of a sacrifice to be here, because I want to be here. And all of us, we love being here in disaster relief. But I think just being away from home and not being able to help them as much. And then working at the shop, I work in like a saw shop. I sharpen all the blades and tools at this my boss is a brother. Our real boss is Jehovah, you know, but I work for a brother. He owns a shop where they sell chainsaws and weed eaters and stuff. And having the freedom to be able to, hey, you know what, I got an assignment to go. And he's like so happy I get to come too. And we've been friends since we were really young. So being able to have the assignment to come, but then at the same time, you're not really working to make any money. So that's a little bit of like, wow, so what am I going to do? But Jehovah always provides. So it's, I guess it is kind of a sacrifice, but it's not, I'm not really worried about it because Jehovah always provides bountifully. So.
Thank you for having that way of seeing things from a brother. Very encouraging. Sister Reeves, how has being single been an advantage in this project?
Well, I have a lot of time, and I'm able to give a lot of it, and most of it, to Jehovah, because I don't have to balance my assignments or a busy schedule back home with having a relationship. It also opens my schedule up to allow me to accept assignments on short notice without having to give it a lot of thought.
Well said. Nathan?
Yeah, I think it comes down to just being able to be flexible and be adaptable. Just have my own needs to worry about. So like before, the things I maybe had to sacrifice to be available for assignments like this, I don't have anyone's needs to consider. I was able to just do with what I needed and made those sacrifices to be available. And then even just in the DRC life, there's certain sacrifices that you have, living with hosts, or if you're in a trailer, certain comforts that you might sacrifice. I know what my needs are, my comfort level. I'm able to take the hosts last minute, move changes if necessary. So just having that flexibility has been an advantage, I'd say.
Thank you. Savannah?
It's along the same lines as what they have said. There's no doubt advantages and disadvantages to both. I would say that I don't have all the responsibilities that would come with marriage. So I'm able to completely focus my time on Jehovah versus have to balance that with my marriage. And as well as it gives me the freedom to accept any assignment that comes along, even if it's last minute.
Thank you. John?
And I agree with all of the comments. It's so true. Being able to accept an assignment at a moment's notice, and yes, I can be there tomorrow or in a few days or whatever the case may be. So I was thinking, if I was married, that would she be comfortable? Like if we're going to go to a place maybe that's not so adequate, would she be willing to go? And so it's a lot easier when you just have to worry about one person. I slept on the floor at Bethel for 22 years. I don't mind. I didn't mind. I was comfortable. But would she be comfortable if we had to go somewhere? Probably not. You know what I'm saying?
No, she would.
So you don't have to worry about it. You know what I mean? So just being able to go in a moment's notice.
You're a wise man, Chuck, a wise man. Sister Reeves, how can others support you single ones in you volunteering this sacred service to Jehovah? What can we do?
Well, I'm really thankful for my home congregation. It's very small. It's about 25 publishers. As most foreign language congregations are, they're usually pretty small. But they've been super supportive of me being here. And so that's the biggest thing, is being supportive and encouraging as we try and reach out and do more in Jehovah's service, even if it's outside of the norm of pioneering, those sorts of things, and realizing that disaster relief, as Savannah said earlier, is a part of sacred service, and that it's an important job that we have to do.
Thank you. Nathan?
Yeah, I think there's two main sources of support that I can think of is from my local congregation, just those texts or even a call, just, hey, we're thinking about you, you're making such an awesome sacrifice, anything we can do to support you, let us know. So it doesn't matter really who that's from, it's just a nice little shot of encouragement, usually just at the right time. And then just the friends that you make in the DRC, whether they're single or they're married, just those conversations that you have that are just super encouraging. They may not think that it makes a big difference, but those conversations, those friendships you make are really supportive, and they go a long way.
Thank you. Savannah?
I agree completely with both of them. And also for me, what has been really helped me a lot is when families have invited me over for their family worship evening. I've had one family that's invited me over every week for the last 5 years, and I've been able to progress a lot because of that, spiritually, and also get to know them much better. And I know other couples and families as well have invited me over. But for me, for being single in the truth as well with my family, it's really special to me to have that extra week, that extra day to worship with my family.
So it's definitely something for us to think about. Chapa?
I think it's good also to be supportive to the single ones and encourage them. People would always ask for, even my own family, because all of my family, all my brothers and sisters are already married and have children. My parents have been married for 50 years. So for a long time they would say, well, have you met anybody at Bethel? Or have you, I'm like, well, finally, I think after years, they realized I wanted to stay focused and stay serving at Bethel or in special full-time service as long as I could. So it's not that I'm not going to get married someday, but it's just that I think when you're single, you don't have the distraction. Like the Bible says that, well, marriage is sacred. It's a beautiful thing from Jehovah. And it says if you're married, you're going to do well, but if you're single, you'll do better. And so I feel like if you encourage them to develop qualities, or us develop qualities as a single person, so when that time does come and the blessing from Jehovah comes, then you can be that much more qualified to be a good wife or to be a good husband.
Very wise. Thank you, brother. Last question. Sister Reeves, what blessings have you received specifically in this project?
Well, I've truly been able to see Jehovah's hand in my life, even just getting invited to come here. So it was really funny the way that it happened. I was talking to a sister that I worked with on a project last year in Wilmington. We had Florence, and I told her that Josh and Melissa were here, and I was like, it would be so cool to come, you know, and cook. But I was like, I don't know how it would happen, and I hadn't even prayed about it. I thought it was like a passing thought, a little bit of a stretch, and I was like, just a passing thought. And then the next week, Josh texted me and was like, hey, do you think you could come to Texas? And I was like, yeah. So, you know, it really strengthened my faith that even things that I don't directly communicate to Jehovah, you know, that he cares about me and he's paying attention. And then also just being here, my family, like I said, has been a really great support for me being here. So I've been able to be here for 6 weeks. And even though I go home tomorrow, I'm leaving another extended family here. And it's been so great getting to know the brothers and sisters that I work with, the brothers and sisters in my congregation that I've attended while I've been here, the brothers and sisters in the office, and not only meeting people that I already met last year, but new faces, like you and your wife. And so it's just been such a great blessing from Jehovah to be here with my extended family and work shoulder to shoulder in the spiritual paradise that we've had here. And it makes me look forward to paradise, where that'll be the reality of our day-to-day life.
Thank you, Sister Rose. Nathan?
It's a hard question to answer and limit down to because there's just multiple blessings. Just in this short term, it seems like project that this was. But first, like I said, learning to trust and rely on Jehovah throughout this project, still had to keep working on that. And Jehovah's hand was definitely involved. An initial 2-week invitation has ended up being between 4 and 5 months. So just throughout that duration, you learn, well, how am I going to make it this week or this month? And just always have. Jehovah has his hand in, and if you trust in him, the more you test him, the more he rewards you. So that's been an amazing blessing. But also, everyone's going to say it, but the friends that you make, it's an extension of your family. The friends that I made years ago on different projects, I can still call up and stay with them tomorrow. And that's what all these friends are here. 3 years, 4 years, 5 years from now, it doesn't matter. They're all going to be best friends.
Thank you. Savannah?
The blessings have just been so many to even, I lose track. There's just been so many. Just being involved, it's crazy to see Jehovah's hand and how I've been able to have the privilege and blessing of being involved. And I'll share with you 2 of the blessings. One of them was, of course, the friends, working with each of y'all. It has been an amazing blessing, and I know friendships that will last well into forever. And for me, being without having my family's support for many years, I relied on the congregation. So each and every brother and sister that I meet and get to work with is immediately my family. So being able to work shoulder to shoulder every single day with your family is incredible. And also seeing another blessing I noticed to see Jehovah taking care of my physical needs is before this project, I wasn't always 100% sure where my next meal was coming from. I did always know that it was gonna come, but I was like, from where? I'm like, Jehovah, what are you gonna do? So with this project, knowing that working in the kitchen was another crazy way Jehovah had. So there's food everywhere. So. You know, that guarantees lunch, and almost every time there's leftovers, so that includes dinner as well. So that was just another amazing.
Well said, Savannah. Thank you. Brother Chapo, what blessings have you received in this project?
There are so many blessings. There's you can't even count them all because they're spiritual blessings. You know, the Bible says that there is the blessing of Jehovah is what makes us rich, and he has no pain with it. So you see blessing after blessing after blessing. And then you see it sometimes as a family and your congregation, a blessing, a circuit, it's a blessing. But when you're serving Jehovah, you see, okay, Jehovah says, I want this for you. This is your blessing. And each of us have seen, all of us here have seen how Jehovah has blessed. This is for you and your wife, or this is for you. It's really beautiful how Jehovah really cares for each of us. There's so many blessings we get. And they've already mentioned the lifelong friends that you make. When I was assigned to Carolina, it was kind of like I had never been out of state, well, Bethel, but not from home to another state for an assignment. And the brother who picked me up, what used to be a Bethelite, I'm like, he's like, Chopper, you're gonna love it here. There's so many people who used to be here at Bethel. It was John who picked me up at night, John Wilton. And then Josh and Alyssa were there, and Josh Neubauer and his wife. So many people that I had known from years ago were there in that town. And then here in Texas, it's not far from home. There's so many great brothers and sisters that you make friends with, and you become family, like they were saying. And there's wisdom, and there's the caliber of the people is so spiritual, it's high. It's a beautiful thing to be a part of Jehovah's family, and it really gets to your heart because you know that you have that love for each other, and it's a beautiful thing to be a part of.
Friends, thank you for being so honest.